Hello everyone, it is Wednesday, March 1st, 2023. Of course, today was New Comic Book Day, which means right now it's time for the new comic book video. I haven't done a video in a few weeks, actually. There hasn't been a whole lot of books that came out, but at the same time, I've just been super busy with things at work, a lot of things going on with the family. So it just kind of steered me off course, but I had some time to do a video, so we're going to do that. I'll show you the books I picked up the last few weeks, and then CGC came out with their grading guide, and we're going to discuss that at the end of this video. You know me and CGC, and this book didn't do anything to make me change my mind. So let's jump right into the books first. Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead. This was written by Bruce Campbell, of course, Evil Dead fame. Really good story. This is the last issue, and of course, like we talked about, whenever you can get a Hitler on the cover, there's always a market for that, because that is something that collectors of World War II books, or books like that, are looking for. Next up, this is, I think this is Hallows Eve #1. Tons of covers on this. I picked up one cover. I picked up the Alex Ross cover. Why? Because you cannot go wrong with Alex Ross. This was today here, and again, not in any general order, but just some books I picked up in the last few weeks that I wasn't able to show on this. Next up, we have Deceased, War of the Undead Gods. This is what number was this one? 6. But I picked it up because it is a NWA homage. Of course, you see the straight out of Gotham right there. Cool cover, so I picked one of those up. This one I know came out. That was pretty much it for mainstream. Not a lot of mainstream stuff. Like I said, it wasn't really a great few weeks for books, so save a little money. Next up, this is from After Dark, Flesh-Eating Cheerleaders from Outer Space. This is #5. This was the regular cover here. And then the topless cover right there. A lot of shops didn't order this, but when I got mine in my pull box, people were like, hey, where'd you get that? Yeah, I ordered it. So with that said, that's not, the storyline isn't the greatest in the world, but the covers are really nice. So it's pretty much a cover pickup. Another book that came out today that I'm kind of looking forward to reading, this is from Image. This is Phantom Road #1. A few covers on this one. Here's 1, 2, 3. Book that came out, I believe, last week or the week before. This is Blue Book #1. This was what they called the foil variant, because you got a little bit of foil right there. If you're going to do a foil variant, put some foil on that thing. Blue Book #1, another cover here. And then a Virgin cover right there. Local Man from Image. Enter Pepper the dog. This was cover A. And then a cover that I liked right here, kind of sitting in front of the billboard. You got the dog sitting right there again. So this was that. Great storyline. I love this book. A lot of people, they're either hit and miss on it, but for me, right up my alley. I like the storyline. It's, it's enjoyable. This is Lovesick, issue #5. This is one cover here. There's another cover here. Virgin cover here. And again, just a really cool book. See if I can adjust this lighting a little bit. A little too dark. To keep it like that, I guess. Next up, Ice Cream Man. This is #29, I believe. Oh, excuse me, 34. Wow. This book really flies. And then cover 2. The covers when they were the earlier issues were really good. These covers aren't all that great to me, but it is a good storyline. Next up, a book we've talked about here a lot. This is Tarot, Curse of the Witch of the Black Rose. This is #138 from Broadsword Comics. This is cover A. And cover B. Little Darkwing Duck #2 action. Something's Killing the Children #29. That's where I had 29 on my mind. Cover A. Cover B. Erica Slaughter. 8 Billion Genies #7. There's only one issue of this left. I picked up this issue because it is kind of a Spawn homage right there, so I picked that up. From the Archie Horror series, this is Chilling Adventures Prince Betty, the Final Girl. This is a one-shot. This is cover A. And there's another cover there. And finally, we have Grimm number, what is it, 8? Grimm number 8. That was it for books as it relates to what I picked up new. I did pick up some vintage books. All these books are going to be available. I don't know if I showed these or not. I can't remember because it's been so long since I did a video. But these books will be available at the next comic book show I'm doing, which is April 2nd, the Oasis Comic Book Show at the Rainbow Library located on Rancho and Cheyenne. Rancho and Cheyenne, Sunday, April 2nd, the Oasis Comic Book Show. And you'll find these books here. Come by, say hello like always. First book up we have, I'll just show you some of the things I picked up, which will be available. Detective Comics 415, the Batman hanging cover right there. Sorry for the glare, but you know, Mylar will do that. New Gods, number 8. This is like a 6, but it's a Kirby cover and art. So kind of a double hit there. DC Star Spangled War, featuring the Unknown Soldier, number 161. Conan the Barbarian. This is a high grade, 8.5. This is number 41. I just like that. You know, he's fighting the tree. Tree's eating the girl. Can't go wrong with that there. Amazing Spider-Man 82, 7.0, Romita on this. Again, anything Amazing Spider-Man is going to sell. That will sell very quickly. Detective Comics 403, this is a 6.5, famous Neil Adams cover right there. Kind of a gray tone look. Really cool book. This is just a small portion of some of the things that are going to be available. Next up, Iron Man 38, mid-grade. Good color on it. We have Iron Man 37, mid-grade again. Mighty Thor 188, 6.5. Beautiful color on that. And then finally, this is the first appearance of Red Sonja in a cameo, Conan the Barbarian, number 23, right there. And this is a 6.57. So there is that. So, you know, some vintage books you're going to find. I'm going to have a lot of stuff, a lot of vintage. I'm going to have, you know, some early Harley Quinn. I'm going to have, you know, Gotham City Sirens and just a bunch of, you know, just nice books, 80s, 90s. You know, mix it up a little bit. I'm going to have my vintage. I'm going to have some pre-code horror that'll be available. And, you know, come on out Sunday, April 2nd, Oasis Comic Book Show. Say hello. Just, you know, BS if you want. You don't have to buy anything. I'd like it if you bought something. But if you don't, no big deal. So there's that. Now, with that said, we've talked about grading on this video several times. We've also been very adamant, or I've also been very critical of CGC and their grading standards, not knowing kind of what direction they want to go in. The book I've always used is the Overstreet Guide to Comic Book Collecting. This has been out for, you know, this is kind of the go-to. It's very easy to read. It'll just basically tell you exactly the grade, a description of the grade, and the stuff in there. CGC has come out with their official CGC Guide to Grading Comics, written by Matt Nelson, president of CGC. All 360-something pages of it. And so I picked it up because I wanted to see what their grading standards were. Very easy. I made, you know, looked at some notes here on some things. And after going through this book, after looking at some of the things they're talking about, it has come, you know, to my attention again that CGC has absolutely zero clue what their grading standards are, what they will take away. And we're going to go over a couple things right now. I mean, CGC is going to do what they're going to do, but everybody says that they're the king. Well, they're not the king because their grading standard sucks. So, first one we're going to look at is odor. You can see it right there. They got a nice little nose right there so you can smell it. Odor. And this is one that got me. You know, this comes mostly to effect where it comes to people who you buy collections in a smoker's you know, home where, you know, they smoked and you have that smell of the smoke on the comic books, and collectors, buyers will always knock down for that. It's kind of the going standard right there that you break down when a person has, like, you know, cigarette smoke on the books, because it's going to ruin the page quality. So it says here, under the category of stain, it is a source of environment and it's an addition, and the grade range, it doesn't, they say no effect. So it says, and I'm going to read it to you, so excuse me for a minute. Odor is the only defect of which a picture cannot be taken, obviously, because it's an odor. A comic can develop an odor from various sources, mainly its storage condition, but also from stains, aging, and enhancement. Odor, whenever pleasant or pungent to its handler, has no impact on a comic book grade. Now, I've been collecting a long time, a lot of you have, and it has an effect on the grade. It always has. People are always knocked down for that. CGC says it doesn't have that. So, I mean, you know, I don't agree with that. So there's one thing I didn't agree with. Odor doesn't matter. So your books can stink to high heaven, and you know what? It's not going to affect the grade of the book. Okay. Paper lift. This is the paper lift. Tape pulls, things of that nature. And it says, category, missing parts. Source, interaction, effect is destruction, and the grade range that you can find these in is a 4.0 to a 9.4. Paper lift is loss of paper and ink from a top surface of a cover occurring when the cover has stuck to another surface and pulled apart, or when foreign substances has stuck to the cover and was mechanically removed. Extensive paper lift often occurs when a stack of comics is exposed to moisture. So, a paper lift occurring from tape removal is classified under the tape pull. Downgrade for paper lift depends on the area affected. Similar to a tape pull, a very small spot may lower the grade 1 or 2 points from a 9.8 to a 9.6 or a 9.4. A larger paper result can relate into a 6.0 or maybe lower. If you got a big tape pull, guess what? It's going to be great. So there's another one that I don't understand, because they're just kind of basically saying that. So again, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of, you know, rattling on about this. Smoke damage. Yes, you've read it right. Smoke damage. Very funny. And it has different pictures of the smoke damage on here. You can see where it's like, you know, burned on the side. And smoke occurs when surface of the porous or unsealed surfaces, the chemicals within the smoke are absorbed into the object, particularly clothing, wood, and paper. It says here, smoke damage is a relatively rare defect and usually affects only 1 or 2 edges of a comic book. Depending on its position during exposure, it is difficult to qualify because of the varying degrees to which a comic can be affected, ranging anywhere from 0.5 to 9.0, but usually will fall in the 4.0 to 7.0 range, depending on size, location, and darkness. Any presence of odor from the smoke will have no effect on the grade. And you're looking at some of these right here where you can see what they're talking about. That is not a 4.0 if it looks like that. I don't care. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I got a couple more for your pleasure. Staple detached. This was one of my favorite ones. We've talked about staples being detached. Staple detached 4.0. You know, if the rest of the book is really in good condition. We've talked about that, you know, a ton of times, several times. It says, a cover fully detached from one staple will usually not grade higher than a 7 or a 7.5. So they're saying, even if it's detached to the staple, you can still grade up to a 7.5. I've never heard of that. And a partial detachment from both staples has a similar effect. So, I mean, if the cover is fully detached, they're still saying you can get, you know, a 4.0 on it, which the cover's detached. They're really opening themselves up for a lot of stuff. And the grade ranges on these are, you know, somewhere, you know, from a 2.0 to whatever. And one of the big ones is subscription crease. Now, subscription crease has always been a hot topic here because they talk about date stamps that are on the book, or people make notes on the book because that was just kind of the way it was. Well, books were mailed in the 60s and 70s, folded in half and mailed in an envelope. That's just kind of how it was. So they say here, Category is a crease. The source is from interaction. The effect is alteration. And it says it can grade from a 4.5 to a 7. So it says here, the length and number of subscription creases, whether they break color and their degree of hinge, all are factors in their impact on the grade. A traditional subscription crease that breaks color top to bottom may lower a grade to a 5.5, and even lower if heavily hinged. A subscription crease always runs through the middle of the cover and is not to be confused with a reader's crease that falls near the spine. So they're saying here that even with a subscription crease all the way down, you can still grade up as high as a 5.5 and above. Again, that's one of those things where a subscription crease has always lowered that book to a 4.3, 5.3. Now, CGC is saying something else. And you're talking about some key books that the prices are just going to go through the roof on. And so they're kind of hem-hawing on the stuff they said in the past because they've been knocking people with the subscription crease. So I think I had one more here that was interesting. Oh, here it is. A near mint 9.2. Near mint 9.2. And you're looking at the pictures they showed. Of course, they're using the Hulk 181 as the standard guide for this. And it says right here, on a 9.2, several color breaks or several color breaking stress lines are present, but a little smaller in nature with light wear on the corners. They still say that grades as a 9.2. If you have a bunch of color breaks, I'm sorry, that's not a 9.2. And this is where the confusion lies, because some people are sending books in that are getting high grades, and people don't know why they're getting high grades because you're looking at them through everything. And you're like, how is that getting that? Even with a 9.4, light spine wear that breaks color, no printer inks or smudges, obviously. 9.6 is 3 to 4 small color breaking stress lines. You can also have slight wear, top right corner, and top spine. Okay, that's a 9.6. A 9.8, 2 very small breaking stress lines. If it's got stress, that's on a 9.8. That's on a mint. If you have 2 color breaking stress lines, I don't know. And like there, a 9.9. It's near perfect, very slight wear top to bottom spine corners, and 1 small color breaking stress line in the mid spine area. And they say that's good enough for a 9.9. That's not a 9.9. If you have a stress break, it's a 9.9. So I went through all these books. I looked at some of the, different things they have. I mean, it talks about every little thing you can have: scuffs, shadows, detached covers, detached inserts. A detached insert has always been, what has a detached insert always been? Detached insert's always been what do you call it? I can't think right now. You're looking at this and you're realizing that they're all over the board with this book on their grading, which just leads me to believe that, again, they have absolutely no clue what their grading standards are. Grading standards are going to change from, grader to grader. They're going to give you a basic idea of what it is. But this, again, they put this out. And even though, it looks like they have a bunch of really cool stuff there, unfortunately, let me see if they have the... they have a bunch of good stuff. That's, the information in here for people that are going to look at it, they're going to start coming up here thinking, oh, I can do whatever I want. And I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I'll stick to my grading standards. I mean, I have this book here, which I graded as 6.5, and there's no color breaking spine. So there's that. That was my little rant. So again, I bought it. And it just reiterated the fact that CGC has such a wide range. They put a book out and they hem-haw it and they just, these are our standards, and their standards are all over the board. So again, it's just going to come down to what they feel they're going to give that book that particular day, or who is sending in the most books, who is sending in the big keys, and they'll just give the best grades that they can for that because they're, hooking people up as always. So, I don't like the third party grading companies because it's all about money. They're all in it for the money, but that's it. So again, sorry about rattling on. It was kind of a weird video, but it's, I'm tired, but I wanted to get a video up because it's been a long time. So there's that. Again, if you're a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you guys do. I appreciate people watching the channel, the supporting the channel. It does mean a lot to me. And again, April 2nd, Sunday, April 2nd, the Oasis Comic Book Show located at the Rainbow Library on Cheyenne and Rancho. I hope to see you there. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. And as always, if you didn't like the video, there's nothing I can do for you. Have a great, great night. Happy hunting, and I hope to see you sooner than I have been.